Hello all, my name is Krishnak and welcome to my YouTube channel. So guys, today in this particular video, I'm going to discuss a very important topic which is called as probability. Now, if you are learning machine learning, if you are learning data science, trust me, probability is very much important to understand, okay? And this particular topic will also be important for college freshers because understand if in your college you are getting any kind of placements, the first round, in the APTI, they ask a lot of questions related to probability. So if you're watching this 15 to 20 minutes videos entirely, trust me, you will be able to solve any kind of aptitude problems. So let's proceed. I'll also be taking an example with respect to machine learning, where exactly it is used. Please make sure that you watch this particular video till the end. So let's proceed, guys. Now, first of all, I am actually going to switch off my video so that you'll be able to focus on this particular session. Okay, so let's proceed. Now, let's begin. If I really want to define probability, I can simply say that it is the measure of the likelihood of an event. Okay, this is a very generic definition, guys. Okay, I'll discuss it. I'll give you a lot of examples. It is a measure of the likelihood of a specific event, of an event. Okay, now let me consider one kind of experiment, and in this particular experiment, some example that I'm going to consider is tossing a coin. Okay, now whenever I toss a coin, first of all, what we do, we create a sample space. The sample space, we basically say that what are the possible events inside this particular experiment, that is tossing a coin. Suppose in this particular experiment I get head and tails. Okay, now in this particular case I get head and tails. So this is my entire sample space. Now probably if I really want to find out the probability, so my formula will look something like this. Suppose I write probability over here. My formula will be saying that number of ways an event can occur divided by, okay, total number of possible outcomes. This is a very, very simple definition, guys. Don't get confused by this, but we'll try to understand. So number of ways an event can occur divided by the number of possible outcomes. That basically means if I want to find out the probability of head, okay, then my formula will actually be what are the number of possible ways, total number of ways head can occur in this particular sample space. Obviously it will just be one, right? And what are the total number of possible outcomes? There are two outcomes. So this will be probability of head with respect to an experiment of tossing a coin. It will be 1 by 2. This is very, very much simple, right? Very, very much simple, guys. I think we did not try to, it's a simple formula that we have actually applied, but there are many things apart from this. Okay, let's consider another experiment. Okay, so my next experiment is basically, if I really want to talk about this, let me consider that this particular experiment is rolling a dice. Now in rolling a dice, if I really want to find out what is the probability of getting 1, okay, because in dice the sample space will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So probability of getting 1 will be nothing but 1 by 6. Again, the same formula, number of ways an event can occur. 1 can occur only one time, right? Similarly, if I try to find out the probability of 2, it will be 1 by 6. Okay, and like that, probability of 3, probability of 4, probability of 5, any number. Now let's go and understand two more important things. One is something called as mutual exclusive event. Trust me, guys, this all topics will be very much important. Mutual exclusive event. Now we'll try to understand what exactly is mutual exclusive event. Now mutual exclusive event is an event, guys. Suppose if I take an example with respect to tossing a coin. In every time when we toss a coin, guys, either we can get head or tail, right? We can either get head or tail. It is not possible that we will be getting both. So we can either get head or tail. So head and tail is not possible. Okay, whenever we have this kind of experiment where only one thing is possible, that time we basically say as mutual exclusive event. Okay, Suppose if I take another example where I say that this is not mutual exclusive event. Not mutual exclusive event. Suppose this is my second example that I really want to take. Let's take an example with respect to this particular case. The example over here that I'm going to take is taking a card from a deck. Taking out a card from a deck of cards. Okay. Now suppose if I consider that out of the deck, can I take out a card? Suppose I may take out a card which will be a king, and it can be of a heart color, right? Basically the red heart color. So I can have this both combination, right? So in a not mutual exclusive event, whatever is the outcomes, like two outcomes can come at a time. Whereas in mutual exclusive event, only one outcome will come at a time, like either head or tails. But in this, you may have a two outcome. Now, if with respect to this, if I try to draw a Venn diagram with respect to this particular experiment, suppose this is my Venn diagram that I am trying to draw. Okay. So in this, the Venn diagram will be very, very much simple. This will be head and this will be tail, right? This will be tail. Here you will be able to see that in this particular outcomes, either one of the outcome will come. But in this particular case, where you have a not mutual exclusive event, when you have a not mutual exclusive event, you will be getting three scenarios. Okay. In this particular case, suppose you are taking out a card from the deck. Okay. You may get a king, you may get a heart shaped king, right? And you may get both of them. Okay. Something like that. So over here, you will be able to see that one Venn diagram I'll try to draw is basically of the king. Suppose this is, I'm just trying to draw a diagram over here with respect to king. Suppose this is my K. Okay. One more diagram I'll try to draw, which will be basically of heart shaped. Okay. So this will be my heart shaped card. And this intersection will be the combination of both king and heart. So this is basically a king of heart. Okay. I can basically consider that. So in a not mutual exclusive event, what happens is that there may be two events that may come out as an outcome. Okay. In this particular scenario, we have seen an example. Now let's take one example, guys, because you may get a problem statement with respect to that. Okay. Now suppose I say that, suppose this is the experiment. Okay. Tossing a coin is the experiment. Tossing a coin is an experiment. Okay. I want to find out what is the probability. Okay. What is the probability of getting heads or tail? What is the probability of this? So for this particular scenario, we first have to check whether this is a mutual exclusive event or whether it is a not mutual exclusive event. And just by seeing this, it is obviously a not mutual exclusive event. So whenever we have a not mutual exclusive event, you always have to remember there will be no intersection, right? So in order to actually find out the probabilities. So guys, with respect to probability of head or tails, we can basically define, if I go and see this particular Venn diagram on the top, okay, suppose if I see this Venn diagram here, you will be seeing that no intersection is there. So I can basically define this particular formula as probability of head plus probability of tail. This is basically the formula with respect to tossing a coin, and consider that this is a mutual exclusive event. So if I now try to solve this particular problem, probability of head will be H and probability of tail will be 1 by 2, 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 is nothing but 1. This is how we basically compute for a mutual exclusive event. The next example again I can take for a mutual exclusive event. The next example that I really want to take, suppose I say rolling a dice. Rolling a dice. Now again guys, in this particular example, if I have a question that what is the probability to either get 1 or 2 or 3. Okay. Now in this particular scenario, rolling a dice is also a mutual exclusive event. You cannot get 1 or 2 at the same time, you know. So for this again, my formula will now become probability of 1 plus probability of 2 plus probability of 3, right? And now if I try to solve this, it will be 1 by 6 plus 1 by 6 plus 1 by 6, which is nothing but 0.5. Okay, so this is how you can actually compute with respect to probability, and this particular technique is called as additive rule. Additive rule, additive rule for mutual exclusive event. I'll just write it as ME, mutual exclusive event. Now let's find out what will be the formula for additive rule for non-mutual exclusive event. So this, now I'm just going to find out additive rule for non-mutual exclusive event. Okay, now let's take another experiment, and now in this particular experiment I want to find out the probability. Okay, probably I'm taking out a card from a deck. Just consider this example, taking out a card from the deck. So my question is, what is the probability of what is the probability of the card that it will be belonging to K, or it will be belonging to the heart shape? So this is my entire question. Very simple. Okay, remember, or, I'm just saying or because it is a non-mutual exclusive event, right? That basically means two events can occur at a time. Now if I really want to find out, let's see what are the components in this. First component is that I really need to find out the probability of K. So if I want to find out the probability of K, again I will try to apply the same formula. How many number of cards are there? There are 52 cards. How many number of Ks are there in that 52 cards? It is nothing but 4, right? The other one that I really need to find out, this is found out, right? Probability of K is found out with respect to the deck of cards. Now probability of red cards or heart cards that I really want to find out. So here I'll write probability of heart. Now how many different types of heart cards are probably present? I can basically say 13 divided by 52, because 13 cards will be present over there with respect to the heart cards. Remember, you need to have some knowledge about cards, deck of cards, every color there will be 13 that will be present. Okay, now one more thing is there that we need to find out is this particular intersection. Now in order to find out the intersection of this, I can just write like this over here, probability of K and heart. So 3 components. That is the reason I'm trying to find out 3 components. Now how many number of times K and heart will be present, guys? It will be only one time, right? Divided by 52. So these 3 values I've got. Now my entire formula will look something like this. Probability of K, right, plus probability of heart minus probability of K intersection heart. So this is my entire formula that I will be using for a non-mutual exclusive event if I really want to find out a scenario of the probability of K or heart. Okay, that basically means 2 events at a time. Now I will just use 4 by 52 plus 13 by 52 minus 1 by 52. Now this in short will be nothing but 16 by 52. Now you can go and compute this, and this will be my probability of K or heart. Okay, now this is what we have found out. Remember, now this is called as additive rule for non-mutual exclusive. Now let me revise what all things we have learned till now, guys. First of all, we have understood what is the probability formula. We have understood some of the examples like tossing a coin, rolling a dice with respect to this. Then we have understood about mutual exclusive event and not mutual exclusive event. In mutual exclusive event, only one event will happen at a time. Okay, no, 2 events cannot happen. In this particular case, you will have 2 events, not mutual exclusive. If I took an example with respect to taking out a card from the deck, it can be either K or heart, right? So, and we also solved some examples with respect to the formula. 2 main formulas that we have derived. For a mutual exclusive, I can basically write probability of A or B is equal to probability of A plus probability of B. This is my formula for mutual exclusive. For non-mutual exclusive, the additive rule, this is called as additive rule. Just a second. Additive rule. Okay, always remember this. Okay, and this will be probability of A or B is equal to probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A's intersection B. So these are my two main formulas that you always need to remember with respect to mutual exclusive event and non-mutual exclusive event. Okay, now this is my additive rule. Now let's go ahead and understand multiplicative rule. Multiplicative rule. Trust me guys, if you know this, trust me, you will be able to solve any kind of probability problem. So I'm telling you, please focus on this. Now with respect to multiplicative rule, first of all, I really need to make you understand about two events. One is independent event, and the second one is called as dependent event. Now let's take an example with respect to independent event. Suppose I take the same example, rolling a dice. Let me just take a much more simple example, tossing a coin. Now in tossing a coin, I know that at a time I will be able to get, suppose I want to find out the probability of head. Suppose I perform this experiment for 3 times. I'm tossing the coin for 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Suppose for the first time I got head. Okay, I got head. For the second time I got tail, and for the third time I got head. Okay. Now probability of head for the first time is 1 by 2. Then probability of tail in the second time. So just imagine like this. Okay. Now during the first time, if I really want to find out the probability, then what I'll write? I'll just write probability of head is nothing but 1 by 2. Okay. Now in the second experiment, I still have 2 more events, like two outcomes only, right? I'll just have 2 outcomes. Either it will be head or tail. So every time, whenever I perform this experiment, the probability of heads will also be 1 by 2. The probability of tail will also be 1 by 2. It will not reduce, right? Because understand over here, because every time I do, there will be only 2 outcomes. Now if I take an example with respect to a dependent event, just understand guys, if you have not understood this particular example, don't worry. With respect to dependent event, you will be able to understand. So in dependent event, suppose I take an example of taking a card from a deck. Okay. Now just imagine for the first experiment, for the first time I took out the card, what is the probability of K? It will be nothing but 1 by 52, right? So probability of taking out a card of 152, probability of taking out a card, that is K, that will be 1 by 52. Now suppose in the first experiment I got the K card out. Okay. Now when I am performing the second experiment, now suppose I want to find out what is the probability of Queen. At that time my experiment will be having 1 by 51, because one card has already been removed, right, over here. So one card has already been removed from 52 cards which was in the deck. Now remaining card is actually 51. And from this, if I really want to find out the probability of Q, it will be 1 by 51. Similarly, in the third experiment, suppose in the second experiment, I took out the card Q also. Okay. Now, how many number of cards are remaining? There are only 50 cards that are remaining. Now, in my third experiment, suppose I want to find out what is the probability of J. So, I can basically write 1 by 52. So, here you will be able to see that with respect to a dependent event, the outcomes will be changing. This probabilities will be changing because the number of cards are reducing. But in this particular case, you will be seeing that even though in the first outcome I remove heads, but for every outcome I'll be getting either head or tail, because there the number of total outcomes will not be reducing. Okay. So here the number of total outcomes will not reduce. Whereas in this particular scenario, it will reduce. Okay. So this is called as multiplicative rule. And for this also there will be a different formula. Let's take one example. Okay. Let's take an example. Suppose I'm rolling a dice. Okay, this is my example, guys. Please listen to this particular example. It is very low. Rolling a dice. Suppose we are rolling a dice. What is the probability that you will be getting? First, you will be getting 1, and then you will be getting 3. So, suppose this is my question. Instead of or, now I am doing and, one after the other. Okay. Suppose I am rolling a dice. What is the probability of getting 1 and then getting 3? Now, for this particular scenario, we have a formula which looks like this. Probability of A and B is equal to probability of A multiplied by probability of B. Right? And this is specifically for a independent event. Now tell me whether this rolling a dice is an independent event. Yes, obviously it is an independent event because the number of outcomes is not decreasing. So if I really want to find out probabilities of 1 and 3, probability of 1 and 3 basically means for the first experiment we got 1, and then for the second experiment we got the rolling of the dice as 3. Like I got the 3 number. So for this it will be nothing but probability of 1 multiplied by probability of 3, which is nothing but 1 by 6 multiplied by 1 by 6. So it is nothing but 1 by 36. So this is the total number of probabilities with respect to this. Now you may be thinking, Krish, let's take an example of something like of a not independent event, so not of a dependent event. Suppose if I take this particular example of a dependent events. Now in this particular example, let's consider the same deck. Suppose if we are removing the cards from the deck, what is the probability that first I will be removing king and then I will be removing queen? So this may be my scenario. Okay, first I'll be removing king and then I'll be removing queen. Okay, what is the probability of this? Now if you really want to define this, first of all let me define the formula. And here you'll be learning one more new term, guys. Okay, so here I can write probability of A and B. Let me just write it in red color so that you'll be able to understand. Probability of A and B is equal to probability of A multiplied by probability of B given A. Okay, probability of B given A. Okay, this is very much important. Probability of A multiplied by probability of B given A. So this, what you are actually trying to find out over here, probability of Q, it is given A, given K, right? You had removed the K card and then that is called as and this specific thing is called as conditional probability, or you can also say it as conditional event. Conditional event. And if you have seen my naive Bayes videos, guys, this conditional events is also used over there. So let's go and compute this. So here I will write probability of K and Q is equal to, what is probability of K multiplied by probability of Q given K. So probability of K will be nothing but 1 by 52. Suppose in the first experiment we removed K, then the total number of cards that are remaining is 51, right? So probability of Q given K will be 1 by 51. Now you just do the computation and get the final output. So this will be your final output. So what we have discussed over here, guys, we have discussed 4 main topics and the 4 main formulas. What are the formulas? This is for the additive rule, probability of A plus probability of B. Remember, this is mutual or non-mutual, right? 2 events can occur at the same time. Over here, 1 event after the other. Okay, something like this. So for multiplicative, I have 2 formulas. Okay, I can basically write like this. So for multiplicative, I have 2 formulas. One is probability if this is a independent event. Okay, probability of A and B, that basically means for the first experiment I got A as the outcome and then B. Okay, then I can basically write probability of A multiplied by probability of B, and then for a dependent event I can basically write probability of A and B can be defined as probability of A multiplied by probability of B given A, and this is called as conditional event. Very important. Okay, conditional event. And if you have seen my naive Bayes video, trust me, all these things are there. Okay, all these things are there. So these are my 2 important things that I really want to touch. And remember, guys, if you remember all these concepts, you will be able to solve any kind of problem in probability. Try it out. Okay, you will definitely be able to do it. Now I really want to make you understand regarding the application in machine learning. First of all, these all formulas, this specifically dependent event are basically used in naive Bayes and all. Apart from that, guys, suppose if I have two categories which looks like this, okay, which looks like this. Okay, so in machine learning, suppose this is a classification problem. Okay, what we do, we try to create a best fit line. Okay, suppose I create a best fit line, something like this. Suppose a new point comes over here, then our model will be able to predict whether this point belongs to category A or category B, right? Usually the machine learning models will give the values in probabilities. Okay, like it may be 0.3%, 0.3 out of 1, you know, or it can also be given at 30%. It will say that it belongs to category A, 30% it belongs to category A, 70% it belongs to category B. So all these kind of scenarios are there in ROC, AUC curve, in performance metrics. All these things will be very heavily used. And apart from that, freshers, your apti, trust me, will be very, very strong. Okay, because there are different kind of aptitudes that we basically use and follow, and for in different placements, even in e-litmus. I hope everybody knows about this e-litmus, right? If you crack this particular examination, you'll be getting a lot of calls in the off-campus placement, right? So I hope you like this particular video, guys. Understand what all things we have learned over here in an amazing way. We have first of all understood about probability, then we have understood about mutual exclusive event. So in short, I have explained you all these things, guys. Let me on my video. I hope you have understood this entire thing. I hope I was able to explain you in an amazing way. Trust me, this 15 to 20 minute videos will be definitely important for you to make your basic strongs. The next common topic also was asked by people was permutation and combination. That I'll try to do it in my next video, and then we'll try to understand that too, right? So I hope you like this particular video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Thank you, one and all. Bye bye.